Smiley Ong arrived in America with $50 in his pocket and a head full of dreams. He had left behind a life of mediocrity, seeking something greater, something that would make his family proud. The journey across the ocean was long and arduous, but his spirit remained unbroken. He had heard countless stories of people who had come to this land with nothing and had built empires. Smiley was determined to be one of them. He yearned for the good life, a big house, a fancy car, and respect. These were not just material desires, they were symbols of success, of having made it in a world that often seemed indifferent to the struggles of the common man. Every night as he lay in his small rented room, he would dream of the day he could drive one of those luxury cars, feeling the wind in his hair and the freedom that came with it. America, the land of opportunity, promised it all. The towering skyscrapers, the bustling streets, the endless possibilities. It was a place where dreams could come true. Smiley often found himself wandering the city, marveling at its grandeur and wondering how he could carve out a piece of it for himself. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was ready to face any challenge that came his way. He took on menial jobs, each one a harsh reminder of his distant aspirations. From washing dishes in a crowded diner to working long hours in a factory, Smiley did whatever it took to make ends meet. The work was grueling and the pay was meager, but he never complained. He saw each job as a stepping stone, a necessary part of his journey towards a better life. He felt the sting of disappointment with every paycheck, every rented room, every longing glance at a life just out of reach. The reality of his situation often weighed heavily on him. He would look out of his window, watching the world go by, and wonder if he would ever be able to break free from the cycle of poverty. But even in his darkest moments, he never lost hope. He craved more, his ambition a simmering fire. It was this burning desire that kept him going, even when the odds seemed insurmountable. He knew that he was capable of more, that he had the potential to achieve great things. All he needed was an opportunity, a chance to prove himself. One sweltering summer evening, Smiley stumbled upon a conversation at a local bar. The air was thick with the smell of sweat and alcohol, and the dim lighting cast long shadows across the room. Smiley had come to the bar to escape the heat and to drown his sorrows in a cold drink, but what he overheard that night would change the course of his life forever. Two dock workers were boasting about lax security at the port. They spoke in hushed tones, but their words were filled with excitement and bravado. They laughed about how easy it was to slip through the cracks, to take what they wanted without anyone noticing. Smiley listened intently, his mind racing with possibilities. They laughed about the ease with which one could walk away with a fortune in goods. The idea was tantalizing, almost too good to be true. Smiley's heart pounded in his chest as he considered the implications. Could this be the opportunity he had been waiting for? The chance to finally break free from his life of drudgery and achieve the success he so desperately craved? This sparked an idea in Smiley's mind, a dangerous and alluring possibility. He knew that the path he was considering was fraught with risks, but the potential rewards were too great to ignore. He could see himself living the life he had always dreamed of, surrounded by luxury and comfort. The thought was intoxicating, and he found himself unable to resist its pull. The seed of ambition, dormant for so long, began to sprout. Smiley felt a renewed sense of purpose, a determination to seize this opportunity and make it his own. He knew that he would have to be careful, to plan meticulously, and to execute his plan with precision. But he was ready for the challenge. He had come too far to turn back now. He saw a path, not paved with hard work and perseverance, but with cunning and risk. It was a path that required him to step outside of his comfort zone, to take risks that he had never before considered. But Smiley was willing to do whatever it took to achieve his dreams. He knew that the road ahead would be difficult, but he was prepared to face it head-on. The American dream, it seemed, could be seized, not earned. Smiley realized that the traditional path to success was not the only way. There were other avenues, other methods that could lead to the same destination. He just had to be bold enough to take them. The thought filled him with a sense of excitement and anticipation. The encounter at the bar that night was a turning point. It was the moment when Smiley's life took a new direction, when he decided to take control of his destiny. He knew that the path he was choosing was fraught with danger, but he was willing to take the risk. He had come to America to achieve his dreams, and he was determined to do whatever it took to make them a reality. Smiley, fueled by desperation and a growing hunger, decided to take a chance. He knew that the road ahead would be filled with challenges, but he was ready to face them. He had come too far to give up now. With a steely determination, he set his plan into motion, ready to seize the opportunity that had presented itself. He would play a different game, a game where the rules were bent and the stakes were high. It was a game that required cunning, strategy, and a willingness to take risks. Smiley knew that he was entering uncharted territory, but he was confident in his abilities. He had always been a quick thinker, able to adapt to any situation. Now, he would put those skills to the test. He would claim his piece of the American dream, no matter the cost. Smiley was ready to do whatever it took to achieve his goals. He knew that the path he had chosen was not an easy one, but he was prepared to face the challenges head-on. With a heart full of determination and a mind focused on success, he set out to make his dreams a reality. The journey ahead would be long and difficult, but Smiley was ready for the challenge. He had come to America with nothing but a dream, and now he was determined to make that dream come true. The seedy bar became Smiley's hunting ground. He went there every night, nursing a cheap beer, his eyes and ears open. He ingratiated himself with the dock workers, his friendly demeanor a mask for his ulterior motives. He learned their names, their routines, their weaknesses. One name came up often: Tony the Wrench Moretti. Tony was a foreman at the docks, a man with sticky fingers and a loose moral compass. He controlled the movement of cargo, and more importantly, he controlled information. Smiley knew he needed someone like Tony. It wasn't long before Smiley found himself face to face with Tony. The air crackled with unspoken intentions as they sized each other up. Smiley, with his quiet intensity, proposed a partnership. Tony, always up for easy money, saw the potential in Smiley's ambition. A pact was made that night, sealed with a handshake and a shared understanding. They were an unlikely pair, the ambitious immigrant and the jaded dock worker, united by greed and a shared disregard for the law. Their first few heists were small, a crate of electronics here, a pallet of designer clothes there. They sold the stolen goods on the black market, splitting the profits evenly. With each successful heist, their confidence grew, as did their audacity. Word spread in the criminal underworld about their success. Smiley, with his sharp mind and meticulous planning, earned a reputation for being a ghost, someone who could make valuable cargo vanish into thin air. His name, whispered in hushed tones, became synonymous with impossible heists. They graduated to bigger targets: pharmaceuticals, luxury cars, even industrial equipment. Their operation grew more sophisticated, their network expanding to include corrupt officials, shady businessmen, and skilled fences. Smiley, once a struggling immigrant, was now a major player in the world of organized crime, his name whispered with a mix of fear and respect. He had come a long way from the wide-eyed young man who had stepped onto American soil. The American dream, once a distant aspiration, was now within his grasp, albeit a twisted, corrupted version of it. Smiley's genius lay in his meticulous planning and his understanding of technology. He studied shipping schedules, security protocols, and police patrol routes. He exploited every loophole, every blind spot, every opportunity. He invested heavily in technology, using it to stay one step ahead of the law. He employed GPS jammers, surveillance drones, and custom-built software to track shipments and disable security systems. His team, once composed of small-time crooks, now included hackers, logistics experts, and former military personnel. Smiley ran his empire like a Fortune 500 company, with precision and ruthlessness. He had a strict code of conduct, rewarding loyalty and punishing betrayal swiftly and brutally. He understood that trust was the most valuable currency in his line of work. He maintained a low profile, preferring to operate from the shadows. He knew that the moment he became complacent, the moment he let his guard down, would be the moment his empire would crumble. He was always looking over his shoulder, always expecting the other shoe to drop. With his newfound wealth, Smiley indulged in the lavish lifestyle he had always craved. He bought a sprawling mansion overlooking the city, its gleaming facade a testament to his criminal success. He surrounded himself with beautiful women, expensive art, and all the trappings of wealth. He never forgot where he came from, though. He sent money back to his family in his home country, lifting them out of poverty. He made generous donations to charities, his illicit gains buying him a veneer of respectability. He justified his actions as a means to an end, a way to provide for his family and right the wrongs of his past. However, beneath the surface of luxury and philanthropy, a seed of unease lingered. The guilt of his actions, the constant fear of getting caught, the knowledge that his empire was built on a foundation of sand. It all weighed heavily on him. The American dream, once so alluring, now felt like a gilded cage. He was trapped by his own success, unable to escape the life he had built, forever looking over his shoulder, waiting for the inevitable fall.